name is Kim. I run Heaven Can Wait Animal Rescue out of High River, Alberta, and I've been asked today to talk about some of the health benefits of companion animals during the pandemic. And I do have a few stories. I thought I'd share these with you because maybe they'll inspire you a little bit. Maybe you will have some empathy for what some of the people behind these stories are going through, and hopefully you won't feel alone. There's a lot of people who feel alone right now, and that is the joy of an animal. It helps you to not feel alone. First one I want to talk about is actually about this cat. In June last year, we're out in the country. So in June last year, I had a woman call me and ask me if she could drop off a donation. And I said, sure, and we do it in the evening when it's quiet. And she came to our shelter. We were respecting our 6 feet distances, and we were just chatting. I honestly didn't know her. And Nivy, this little cat, jumped up on the desk and then went over and started rubbing on her a little bit, and she asked me if it was okay to pick up the cat. And I said, of course it is, pick her up, she loves the attention. And as she's holding Nivy, and Nivy's purring and doing her little sweet thing, I looked up and the woman had tears in her eyes, and they're just seeping out of her eyes, and I asked her if she was okay. And she said, I'm okay. This is just the first thing to touch me in 3 months. And I was really impacted by that because, of course, animals touch me every day, and I work with them, and I'm handling things every day. And it made me realize that there's a lot of people during the pandemic that are isolated, and they miss that contact, whether it's human or, in this case, animal. It ended up being a really lovely visit. She stayed with me for another good hour and just woke her up while I went and did all my work that I had to do. So this little cat, Nivy, definitely impacted that woman on that day. And I was really proud of her behavior. So that's one kind of nice story from the flood. I also dealt with a mom. I dealt with a mom who had called me and asked me if I would please allow her 13-year-old boy to do some volunteering here. And I told her, I'm sorry, we're not taking a lot of new volunteers right now during COVID. But mom really did get emotional on the phone and said that her boy was becoming withdrawn. He wasn't talking to her anymore, and the only time he really did talk was to put some pressure on her to get a dog, but they're not in a position to get a dog. I did tell her, all right, bring your boy out, and we'll just let him play with some dogs, and then we'll see how things go. And that's exactly what happened. This mom and her very quiet and very respectful 13-year-old boy came out and spent 2 lovely hours throwing balls around the yard for a dog that didn't want to chase them. And really seeing him smile and seeing mom smile. She loves her boy and she's worried about him. It was 2 hours of my life that was very well spent, just enjoying the company of this woman and her son and watching them engage with some of the animals. It was really sweet. And I'd like to think that maybe those 2 hours made a big difference for that young guy, and hopefully the time will come where they can get a dog. But again, for now, we were able to help a little bit there, so that made me happy. The other one I want to talk about, and this is kind of a different story because this is a little golden retriever that we were asked to take on an owner surrender from a young couple that lived in the Northbridge area. So they had this little dog, and they only had him 2 days before they realized that he was blind, and they understood right away that they were not in a position to take care of the blind dog. I did agree to take this little guy. He was maybe 10 years old. So how can you not love a cute little 11-week-old pup? But he is still blind, and that does take a different kind of owner in terms of giving this dog the best life possible and the safest life possible, because he does have a limitation. So the happy ending to this story is that one of our longtime volunteers who had the time, had the knowledge, and has the resources to get more information when need be, ended up adopting this dog. And he's doing great. He is doing great. And I know, because I talk with her quite often, I know how much this dog has brought an added level of joy to their home, and the existing animals that are in their home, they've all welcomed this little soul into their lives. And it doesn't matter that he's blind. It doesn't matter. He doesn't know that he's blind. He's just a young dog living the best life he could. So I think that's a very lovely story too, about a dog that maybe wouldn't have had as good a chance, and he ended up having the best chance. When we reached out to some of the people that have adopted from us in the past 6 months to a year, I was very fortunate to get a whole bunch of stories that came in about the impact of their animals, not just our animals that we adopted, but the ones that were already in their home. So I want to take a minute and just read a little bit of these. This one is from Steph. She said, "We're fortunate that our lives haven't changed much this past year due to COVID. We've kept our jobs and we've never been really socially inclined. I'm definitely not a hugger, but I try to be very concise about my anxiety level. She is, as she says, I seem to be oblivious to the stress until it gets so intense that I develop physical symptoms. One of the things I was struggling with was the guilt that I was not able to give my dog as much social enrichment as she needed. My girl's extra social, and I felt that was not meeting that requirement in her life. I tried bringing home foster dogs and was becoming defeated, as none of them seemed to have the bond with her that I was really looking for. Then walks in Nate, who, by the way, is one of her dogs. Handsome, goofy, and calm. We did a long trial due to our specific circumstances, but I knew right away that he was never leaving our home. Nate really is the missing puzzle that is making our family complete." So that's a great story. I like reading about that. This is another one too. This is from a woman who does pet therapy, or at least was doing that prior to COVID. The sheer joy that animals bring to people is the main reason I got into pet therapy. The picture was taken on a patient's bed prior to COVID. My pup loves being a therapy animal. He laid on his bed for almost an hour. That's nice. This one is about a cat. Kiwi has been the perfect addition to our floof gang. She is always the first to welcome anybody coming home. Her veggie preferences always make us laugh, and she's brought out the kitten and her big brother Mango, which brings great joy. It is wonderful to have something good come out of a crazy year of COVID, and our little Kiwi is the good that we needed. That's lovely. Another one. Our Jasper, formerly Moss Lee, has been such a great and loving companion through all of these difficult times. He's been with us almost 6 years. He continues to bring us much joy and comfort. I love hearing those stories. The other one I wanted to read too. This one came in by text. This is from a fellow named Justin. I wanted to share my story about how my dogs made a significant impact in my life during the pandemic. In the beginning stages of the pandemic, I had already been struggling with a lot of mental health issues such as anxiety and severe depression. As the first stages of lockdown started to happen, hanging out with friends and family wasn't something anyone was able to do, and that definitely played a huge part with my anxiety and depression getting worse. As I began to feel like things were spiraling, my dogs started noticing a change in me. They became even more affectionate than they were before. When I felt lost and was stuck in bed, they continued to love me and give me reason to keep pushing forward and getting up. Taking them for walks, playing with them truly had an impact of me getting through this past year of constant unknowns. I'll be forever grateful for the unconditional love from my animals during that time. And even now, as we're going into yet another lockdown, I will always have something special to look forward to when I get home and the days that I have to stay home. Because of the love of my fur babies, I won't ever have to be alone. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and I know with all my heart that all the people who own animals will likely have a very similar story to tell about the difference that they have made in their lives during very dark times. There's no doubt the impact of animals into our lives is profound, and I think that it's an individual experience for each person and their relationship that they have with their pet, with their companion animal. And these are all amazing stories, and we sincerely hope that you have that pet in your life too, that is helping you through dark times. I want to end this on a personal story. I recently lost a very good friend to cancer, and in the months leading up to her death, she had asked me if there was a cat that she could foster. And keep in mind, my friend had never had a cat in her life. She was always a dog person. And we did find a mature cat that wasn't going to challenge her too much, that just needed special food and a little bit of TLC. When I was talking to family members, they all told me how much this contact with this cat meant to her in the last few months of her life. And he encouraged her to get up and to feed him and to engage with him and to not be in the same headspace that she was. And I think that's a very poignant story about how an animal can affect your life, even when you are dealing with the darkest of dark things. And I'm so, so very grateful that she had him, and that he brought joy to her life for those last months. A measure of joy, anyway. I'm very proud of this cat, and I'm very proud of my friend for committing to him and giving him that extra care when she was in a position of needing care herself. I think that we're all struggling. We're all struggling with COVID. We're all struggling with the changes to our lives. I think that we need to make our own good stories, and we need to show kindness not only to our animal companions, but to those in our life that we need to recognize need maybe a hand. They need a hand, they need a hand up. Sometimes they just need you to care. And I am encouraging anybody who might be watching this to care about your fellow man, because action always makes a difference.